The Odyssey is an epic done justice. Okay, now that I've said what basically the title is, so Christopher Nolan, one of the greatest film directors of all time, made a new movie, and guess what? It's really, really good, and arguably the best film of 2026. Now, it may be dethroned by the time it finishes. I mean, there's some good movies coming out this year. But currently, honestly, maybe my number one. And yeah, I'm going to talk about it. I'm also going to talk about the, in my opinion, completely unjustified criticism handed towards the movie, mainly before it came out. And I'm going to talk about that as well as the movie. And beware, I'm taking notes from my Letterboxd review just a little bit. So, yeah. Speaking of which, honestly, this film is really, really good. I really, really like this movie. Honestly. Wait, no. Yeah. So, let's talk about why. First off, the cast. Okay, the cast was a big contention because none of them are Greek. Yeah, that was a big one that I know I've seen around a lot. But, here's the thing. They do a really good job. Matt Damon is maybe giving the best performance of his career. And Anne Hathaway's doing an incredible job as Penelope. Robert Pattinson may have stolen the show. Like, he did such a good job playing, okay, but I pronounced it correctly, Antinius? I think that's it. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I think he did a great job playing the character. I thought it worked really well. The cast did a great job. I mean, come on. Nolan is notorious for casting really good actors in all his films. Like, he has a stacked cast. Like, John Bernthal, also great. Tom Holland did a great job. Not, like, his best performance ever, but he did a really great job. So, although Tom Holland doesn't really have much outside of Spider-Man. Like, the only role I can think of is him in Uncharted. But, yeah. Anyways, that's one thing. The actors do a great job in the film. But also, one thing I love to say is that I really like the characters as well. I've said this before, like, some Nolan films, I'm a bit, like, I don't care about some of the characters. Like, of course, like, Memento is gonna force you to care about all the characters, because there's 3 characters in the movie. But, let's say, I don't know, Insomnia, I didn't care about really any of those characters. Prestige is another example if you care about. Actually, Nolan's pretty good at making characters, my bad. But, like, yeah, I'd say this film does a great job of making you really like all his characters. Odyssey is a really good protagonist, and it does help that Matt Damon is giving an incredible performance. Penelope is a good character. Telemachus. I just remembered how it was pronounced. He was a great character. I liked his journey. I thought all the characters were great. The crew was great. I liked how all of them were. Where I felt like they were all good. Cersei, I thought was really good. Was a neat, interesting character. Which also bring me into some of the horror-ish vibes of the film. This film, it's not a horror film, but it has some horror-ish vibes. I mean, spoiler for the movie. Cersei turned, which by the way, this whole review is spoilers for the movie. But Cersei turns, like, Odysseus' entire crew into pigs. What? Like, I know it happens in the original Odyssey, but, like, it's so haunting. It's, like, done. Like, you see her, like, stretch out their faces and morph them into pigs. It's really hard to watch. It's, like, disturbing. And the Cyclops. I think Christopher Nolan found, like, the only way to make a Cyclops look cool. Like, generally, I don't get how you can make a Cyclops in live action not look really, really weird and lame. Like, a one-eyed, big, bulky guy that's really tall. That's gonna look more goofy than scary. But Christopher Nolan did an incredible job. And honestly, I feel like a large part of it is that the really cool thing about the design is I love the eye on the forehead instead of it just being an eye in between the nose. And you can also see that he has 2 other eyes, but they're just forever closed, or they're like sealed shut, or it's just not there where they should be. I think that really helps to get the scare factor of like, oh, this guy just has another eye. And it's not just one big eye, which should be goofy. It's like his other two eyes are fully shut, and he has one big eye. And also that eye is sideways, which I think is a really cool visual. And he's also not some big bulky dude. He's more slender, and he works very well. I thought the Cyclops is a really interesting portion in the Odyssey. I bet everyone has eventually sometime in like English class in high school. They're like, hey, read the Odyssey, except you're not actually gonna read the Odyssey because the Odyssey is really, really long. We don't have time for that. So you're gonna read like the beginning and the end. And some parts in between. That's how my Odyssey reading went. But the Cyclops was a really cool and fun portion. Now I will say they did change some things about it that I didn't like. I think it may have been like one of the only changes that I didn't like in the film, and it was that for some reason they got rid of the whole nobody part, which if you know what it is, it helped show Odysseus' like intelligence because he tells the Cyclops like, my name is nobody. So when he attacks the Cyclops and escapes, when the other Cyclops come to him, he's like, nobody attacks me. So they're like, okay, you're good, go away. Then it also shows again how sort of pompous and Odysseus' hubris and sort of disrespect to the gods, that what he does is, as they're going away, Odysseus proclaims with he's like, yeah, I beat you. The name Odysseus is the one who took out your eye. That's not exactly what he says, but it basically show that he is very arrogant in what he does, and that, because of him telling the Cyclops his name, he was able to go to his father Poseidon to be like, hey, curse this guy and make him never come home. Or if he did, things will be a lot different. That's how it went from my recollection. And that was really good. I think them taking out the movie is one of my few complaints for it. Another one that you could argue Telemachus. I figured out how to say it earlier. Telemachus. Telemachus didn't really do much. I mean, I get that is kind of the point that he doesn't get exiled, but he kind of just stood around and was like, oh no, this is happening. He acted sort of like Antinius. Antinius? I think that's how you pronounce that. I'm sorry. He kind of acted like him, of just a freaking coward who didn't do anything. He just sat there and was like, hey, grab his spear, kill him. That's what Antinius was doing, which I really did love him as a villain. He was a great villain. Also, all the characters in the movie, like I said, were pretty good. Synnum, played by Elliot Page, is pretty good. I know people are mad about Elliot Page, although I'll talk about that when I get to the horrible critiques of the film, because I think they're really dumb. It was one thing I did really like about this movie. Hold up. One thing I did like about this movie, the scale. This is one of the best Christopher Nolan movies by the scale and how, big it is, I guess, The Dark... And that doesn't mean it's amazing or anything, or the best Christopher Nolan movie. For example, I think The Dark Knight has the best scale of any of the Batman movies. It's just, this huge fight, this huge thing. It has great scale to it, and this, sort of vibe and atmosphere. Wow, but it's, by far the worst out of the three. I'm not even gonna, sugarcoat it. It's by far the worst. But, overall, I did really like the grandiosity of it. It just felt so big and epic, It's an epic, and it deserves to be treated that way, and Christopher Nolan knocked it out of the park in how he did that. Yeah. Oh, this is another thing. The cinematography in this movie is really good. Honestly, is it the best looking Nolan film? I still would probably give that to, Interstellar. But it does look incredible. The visuals, the cinematography, everything and how it's shot is just so gorgeous. The visual effects, when there are any, is just so good. All the ocean shots, it's incredible visually. It's a visual marvel. I also do like how the story's told. Of course, to spin in the Christopher Nolan non-linear-esque storytelling, they basically have it that as that Odysseus is gaining his memories back, And at least that's how I interpreted it. And they're telling stories of what Odysseus did as we see them. You know? Like, that's when John Bernthal's character, forgot the name, my bad. But, like, he was talking about what Odysseus did in the Trojan horse. And then we go back to the Trojan horse and see what happens. So, yeah. Also, I do I like that linear storytelling. I mean, there's been better non-linear storytelling uses by Christopher Nolan. The best would probably be Memento and how it literally goes backwards. But it's really good. I like how it plays with time and memory in that sort of aspect. I also do like the anti-war-esque theme to the film, as we see at the end all the terrible things that happened in Troy. Yeah, that's the name. In Troy, when basically it wasn't they just went after soldiers. They murdered all of Troy. Like, they killed civilians and all that. I think it was a great way to give his story message of the violence of war. I did really like how they wrapped in Athena with that. While Athena doesn't really show up that often and has very few lines, I do like how they make Athena come to Odysseus as the woman he saw get murdered. I did like that. Although, I was like, another one of my very slight nitpicks, which I don't have a problem with it, but it's just odd. For a story being all about, like, the gods, one god appears, and that's Athena, and barely at that. But, I'm not going to complain, but I just noticed that. So, overall, what do I think about this film? I'm probably leaving some things out, but overall, I think it's truly incredible. I'm a bit of a Christopher Nolan glazer in some aspects, but yeah, I think this film's 10 out of 10. I think it's probably slightly better, or just better than Project Hail Mary. I think by a bit. I think both are incredible films, but yeah, this is probably my new favorite of the year. I made a poll of what's your most exciting film of the year. I said in there that, personally, because I'm a comic book guy, I'm more excited for Doomsday and Spider-Man Brand New Day, but I can admit Doom 3 is probably going to be better than both of those, and the Odyssey is going to be the best of the four. But overall, yeah, this movie's pretty perfect. I think it adapts an epic insanely well, and I really like it. Honestly, if you can watch this movie, especially if you can watch it in IMAX, I had the pleasure of watching this in IMAX, and it was amazing. But if you see it in IMAX, just watch it in IMAX. You're not going to regret it. Incredible theater experience as well. Also the score by Ludwig van Gorensen, I'm pretty sure his name is. Sorry I didn't mispronounce that. But, yeah, it was incredible. I overall do think this is a 10 out of 10 perfect film. And I will make a Christopher Nolan ranking, and you can go and see where it lands on that. Anyways, okay. So now I'm going to get into the criticism of the film. And, okay, from the three places where I have seen big criticism for is in the casting, the armor, and historical accuracy. Okay. I guess I'll talk about the historical accuracy and the armor, because that's going to be a lot shorter. Historical accuracy. Okay, so you hate anything about mythology ever. If you don't like this movie because of historical accuracy, I want to see that held up. You hate Percy Jackson. You hate God of War. You hate basically any mythology thing ever. Like, yes, it's not going to be perfectly historically accurate. It's also based off a book. Yes, that book has had a lot of cultural impact in Greece, and Greek mythology. But it is a book, and it can be adapted, and Christopher Nolan can take his own liberties, because it's an adaptation. It is not a perfect one-for-one, which, I did make a whole video about Supergirl, comparing it to its comic. So here's the difference about that. I wasn't saying the movie's bad because it's not perfectly the comic. I said, actually, I never even called the movie bad, but I said that it wasn't as good as the comic, but that's not the reason why it's bad, or bad in a loose term. Again, I had criticism for it even before I read the comic. It's fine, but yes, just because it's not an exact copy of the Odyssey book does not mean it's bad. So that I think is a bit dumb. Also, the armor. It's not perfectly what agrees what I generally I do not care. If it looks cool, if it looks good, I do not care. Yes, was it accurate for the time? No. But, like, it looks good. You can say it doesn't look good. I think the armor looks great. Like, the giant, and, like, the scene with the giants, that was great. I really liked it. I thought it looked great with all the armors. I thought it was really cool. Okay, right? But, like, I guess you can be mad that, it's not perfect. Again, it's such a nothing burger thing that it really just does not matter. And you should not be this mad over it. That's not why you should hate on a movie. Because, oh no, the costume's not right. Personally, I think when people, about comic book films are like, oh, this suit is horrible because it's not perfectly based on the comics. Yeah, if you perfectly based on the comics, it will probably be a great suit. But just because it's not a perfect one-for-one doesn't mean it's bad, unless if it actually looks bad. So, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. And then the third one, which this one may go on a bit of a rant, is the casting. Okay. So, there's two castings that were rumored. One of them was rumored and not even part of film. That is the big rumor that came around that a lot of people use to hate on the casting and hate on film itself, is that Elliot Page was supposedly playing Achilles. That was a rumor from a while ago, and it just sort of became a thing that people spouted out as fact, even though it was a unconfirmed rumor. And then when the film actually, and before the film came out, there were recent leaks being, Elliot Page isn't playing Achilles, they're playing Sinnum. And guess what happened? Elliot Page didn't play Achilles. He played Sinnum. Okay, and I will agree, if Elliot Page was playing Achilles, that'd be a pretty bad casting. I don't think he would fit the role that well. I don't think it would go that well. I don't think I think he's pretty short. I don't think it'd work. I don't think he's muscular enough. I don't think he would fit the build of Achilles. That is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I don't think he would be a proper Achilles casting. But guess what? He's not playing Achilles. And guess who's not even in the film? Achilles! Achilles is not in the movie. So, genuinely, I do not get where this rumor came from that Elliot Page is playing Achilles. Achilles is not only not in the movie, but Elliot Page is playing a different character. So, yes, that criticism is, in my opinion, completely null and void. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is that they made Helen of Troy a black person. Okay, listen to me. I get it. I actually have heard some people be like, oh, it's not actually a race swap because they never actually said her race. I don't know about that. I'm not going to confirm nor deny. But, yeah, it definitely is a race swap. It wouldn't make sense that a Greek woman would be black. She'd probably be Greek. And most Greeks are not black. So, yes, it is a race swap. But here's the thing. Does it matter? Does it affect the story? No. Does it affect the connotation of anything? No. And that may have you be like, hey, so why would you race swap this character if it does nothing for a story? And, yeah, that's true. But here's the thing. If it does nothing in my opinion, if it does nothing for the story, if it does not hurt the story, if it does not benefit the story, then why would you race swap someone other than diversity? That's not a bad thing. I'm not saying diversity is a bad thing. I'm saying just to have more black or any other race in media. Yeah, that's fine. But, you shouldn't be complaining about it. Sure, did it need to happen? No. But it doesn't matter. Also, she's described as the most beautiful woman on earth. That's the point. It's not that she is white or anything. I can see why people are mad about, Rachel Zegler's casting Snow White, because the whole point of Snow White is that she's as white as snow, and then she's played by an actress who's not fully white. Yeah, I get that. But here, she's never stated as white or Greek or anything. She's just the most beautiful woman of all. That's the point. So she doesn't need to be a certain race. She can be any race. And it just matters if she's an attractive woman. And the actress is an attractive woman. And she also has 5 minutes of screen time. Anyways. Next part, which I can see. This is the one that I can agree with the most, but I still do think it's a dumb criticism. that the cast is basically not Greek. Actually, not even basically. I don't think there's a single Greek part of the cast. Okay, this is fair. I've seen people be like, hey, Greek representation matters. I want, as a Greek person, I'm not Greek, I'm saying other people were like, as a Greek person, I don't like the fact that there's no Greek actors. And here's the thing. First off, Christopher Nolan doesn't really kind of try to cast a lot of big name actors. And, like, yes, in a perfect world, it'd be great if we could get a bunch of Greek actors to play the role. But here's the thing, we're not in a perfect world. That's not how Christopher Nolan wanted to do the movie. And that's just not going to work out well. And also, the second thing is, it's a Western adaptation of the movie. It's made by an American film director in Hollywood. Yes, they are going to have actors who have American accents. They're going to get Americans to play it. That's kind of how it works. Like, I guess, here's my thing. If you hate this movie for no Greek... If you hate this movie for no Greek actors in it, oh man, you must despise Schindler's List for not being all German actors. Like, no. It's really fine. Because to Schindler's List, they still represented Germans and Jews and all that stuff. And this movie, they still represent Greeks. So it's fine. And, like, you could argue that if, like, well, what? And I've seen this go around, too, that, like, oh, this is like if they made everyone in Black Panther white, the main cast white. But there's a difference between that. That completely, you cannot, okay, let me just say, a white guy cannot represent African or black culture. That's just not happening. Well, like, I feel like you could make more of an excuse that a white person could represent, or could be believed to represent, a Greek person. You could just say because they're both in Europe, but, like, no. My point is, that's very different, because it's representation, but it's also the race that matters. They have a clear thing about race in that movie. So, like, yeah, you can't just swap that. And also, like, another thing is, I didn't see you guys complaining when, I'm sorry, but the actor who played, Mr. Fantastic in the first Fantastic Four film, he's not white. He's not a white guy, but guess what? He looked enough like a white guy that you could pass it off and not complain. But, I guess Pedro Pascal's not white enough that you have to hate on him for it. Or like Robert Downey Jr. Most people who don't like Robert Downey Jr.'s casting is because, oh, you're just bringing back Iron Man. When, if anything, a more justifiable reason, which I have not really seen anywhere in the internet except for like one channel with 20,000 subscribers and nowhere else, is that Robert Downey Jr. is a white guy. Doctor Doom is a Romani person. But no one's complained about that. Like, there's just examples of just clear hypocrisy between it. Of just, like, clear hypocrisy of people being, like, in some scenarios when they want to be mad. Or, like, oh, this is horrible. Why are you making this cast? What about representation? But then when it's not representation, they don't care. They don't care. It's nitpicking situations. And I feel like that's a bit much. And again, yes, it would have been nice to have Greek representation. But it's not expected. It's not a thing that he had to do. And again, it's not really the most possible thing in the world. The thing about movies to succeed well, especially this multi-$100 million movie, I mean, yes, Christopher Nolan's name will have probably helped a lot, but also actors help a lot. People love Matt Damon. People love John Bernthal. People love Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Robert Pattinson. Those people, they would see that it's their movie and go to watch it. So that is why they kind of need big-name actors. That is a thing that you kind of need for a film to properly succeed nowadays, is at least a big-name actor or to be absolutely incredible. Like, you need something, and it would help with big-name actors. So that is another reason why it's not all Greek, because there's not many Greek actors. I've also seen the point of, like, name 5 Greek actors, and it's like, okay, sure, I personally don't think I could do that. But you can do that for, like, so many groups of people. Name 5 groups of people as actors, and it's like, anyways, also there's Greek movies out there. There is representation in the media of Greek people, and yes, it is sad that the Odyssey couldn't be one of those. But it's not, it shouldn't have been a requirement. It was not an expectation, in my opinion. I don't think it should have been an expectation for Nolan to do that. Because there have been plenty of times where people adapt stories and then don't, that are in a certain place, and then don't do the race of that certain place, but they represent it. Like, I'm pretty sure, I'm not a big One Piece guy, but I know the live action One Piece, they had Luffy be played by a white guy. Luffy in the anime is not a white guy. So, like, again, it is fine. In my opinion, it is fine. It's really not a big deal. Also, another thing is that I again, not trying to group the people in the same place, but I find it funny that I feel like a lot of people hating on the casting of the movie is that a lot of things that people often do say about race swapping is that, like, if you turn character white from black, no one would care, but if you turn character black from white, oh, the outrage. Which, I mean, sure, maybe, I guess so, but, like, it doesn't really matter. Like, but then all those people are mad that they're turning Greeks to white people, and which just shows to me that I feel like people are kind of just irrationally hating on a movie to hate on a movie. But that's just my opinion, and yeah, I know the casting, especially the Greek actors thing, has been a big thing, which I do understand if you are mad that they didn't do Greek actors. Yes, representation does matter, but I don't think it was necessary to have an all-Greek cast, and there are multiple reasons and explanations for why that are pretty justifiable. Anyways, just to end off the movie, because this past 14 minutes have almost been a complete another rant session about the bad faith criticisms. I've actually talked longer about bad faith criticisms than the movie, but overall, it's an incredible movie. Watch it in theaters. It's very, very good. You will not regret it. And anyways, bye. See you at the Christopher Nolan ranking.